Lois DeWitt. We're going to do a drawing exercise today. I have my pencils here, good soft drawing pencils, and I have an eraser. I have my easel and my paper all ready to go, and I have set up my drapery. And so we're going to start. This is going to be a simple line drawing, and I'm going to show you how to proceed. You can see this is my subject matter here for the line drawing, and I simply have set up a piece of, this is canvas, sort of like a tarpaulin. It's actually a paint cloth that you can use for covering the floor if you're painting. And I like this because the folds are I've set it up so the folds are very simple. And when you do this exercise, you'll want to do the same. You can use a sheet or a towel, anything I think that's heavy will give you a better model to work with. You don't want to make it so complicated that it becomes a daunting experience, because a line drawing really is a lot of fun. So the first thing I want to do is look very carefully at what the total form is and how I'm going to be placing it on the paper. And so I'm going to just start kind of doing a profile of this drapery, just very lightly. I want to make sure that I'm getting all of this form on my paper. This takes a little bit of planning. That's why we have an eraser, so we can go back and go over what we're drawing, change things. Okay, that looks pretty good so far. When you do drapery, think of the forms, especially early on, as just simple geometric forms. It'll be a lot easier for you. Oh, I think I might be able to make it on here. Oh, a little close on the edge here, but I think I'm going to do it. And again, the byword here is simplify, simplify. Just look very carefully. Try to get the overall lay of the drapery. Put it on very lightly. There's that. There's this fold here. It goes actually down like that. Don't be afraid to adjust what you're working on until you get it right. Maybe that's not quite right there. Back to the drawing board. I think that's where that term came from. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to kind of check myself to make sure that my forms that I'm putting down are fairly correct. You might have to adjust it quite a few times. Don't get discouraged. It's not an easy task to look at something and draw what you see. The one redeeming element to that is that the more you do it, the better you get. Some basic forms here, pretty much. Okay. All right. That kind of goes like that. this is more like that there now. I have another major fold that I haven't even dealt with. I'm going to deal with it right now. And because this is going to be a line drawing, we're not really going to think much about light and shadow. There's some beautiful light coming in the window and shining on this, but that's not what we're going to be working with today. We're going to have the line just express this form. This is a real challenge. Okay. All right. Little sketchy. It's fairly correct, but I'm not going to take much longer. I want to make sure that you get the idea of what a line drawing is. So now what I'm going to do is to make it a ghost. You can do this. Just get a nice little gum eraser, white eraser will do that. A lot of these lines out. So basically what I'm doing here is eliminating most of the lines and leaving just a ghostly, very, very faint mapping of what I just drew. Now, don't erase too much because you still need your reference. What we're working here for is simplicity of line to express a form. This is the real challenge of doing a line drawing. You'll find that it's challenging whether you're doing a figure, a self-portrait, a landscape. Basically, you reduce the form just down to the minimum. And you have to, your responsibility is, once you have it mapped out, and then sort of just have this very, very faint map on here, to come back in with a very expressive line. Believe it or not, half of the work is done right now, because half of the work is just putting it down on paper and making sure that it's fairly correct. As correct as you can make it, without spending a whole lot of time on it. Some of the lines that I put down are a little hard, even though this is a soft pencil. I press down and so they're taking a little more time to eliminate. All right, now I'm going to go in with the line. I'm going to start right here. And I know that that curves around like that, and then another fold comes in like this, and that disappears around this fold, which is right here, which bends around like that, and then this fold comes out about there like that. Comes down like that. Actually just meets the table and then comes out like that. All right. Whew. And now up here, here's a nice little tuck right there that comes down and kind of disappears. See how I left off on that line a little bit? Take that one out, that's not right. Left off as I'm trying to express that it really does kind of disappear into the fabric, and then there is a very soft sweep that comes around like that. Now I'm just going to emphasize this center fold here. The fold is in the center, like that. And there's a little fold that sticks up like that, and then it goes like that, and it loops around like that. And this edge loops around like that. Now that's that major fold. Now I'm going back up here. Thank goodness I have a little bit of a map to go by. If you want to, you don't have to start with preliminary lines. And like I say, the more you practice, the better you'll get at just simply putting those lines down by looking at something. It's a skill. It takes very close concentration of what you're looking at, and the line as well as being very, very aware of how the line can express that. This comes around like this, a little fold right there, and then this kind of disappears. So what I'm going to do is just make a line like that that kind of leaves off. Now there's this major fold here. Comes down at an angle like this, and then goes up like this, and this wraps into this. So you have to do this sort of thing to demonstrate that. I have a conflict of lines here, so see if I can make that clearer. If you use a harder pencil, it's harder to erase, so I recommend getting a nice soft, this is an ebony 14420 Sanford. There are many different drawing pencils out there, but this is a nice soft lead. Okay, now let's see. This actually picks up right here and tucks into there like that. That's a hard articulation, as they say, articulation. Like I say, you want to keep the line simple. And actually sort of read what is happening there. Coming around like that. I'm going to emphasize the insertion of this fold by making it a dark line. Now, completing this, I'm going to run like that. That folds. That comes up at almost a straight angle. This wraps around right in here like that. Whew, and that's pretty much it. Now, I'm not so sure this is exactly the configuration, but what I want to achieve more than anything is when a person looks at this drawing, they're going to be able to see how the folds go. And if a person can read that, then you've accomplished what you need to do with this sort of skill. And you can see that, you know, the whole form is carried by the line, and that it can be very powerful. Now, I have some extracurricular. I'm cleaning up now, almost done with this. Got some extra lines here from the map that I made. Just going to take those out. I'm just pressed a little bit too hard and got carried away, I guess. Okay, now I'm going to go back in, re-emphasize some of these. That actually leaves off right there a little bit. You want to, when you want to express the space, this faint fold goes actually into here, but it goes behind. So I'm making it very light so that this line makes this form come out. I want to keep the line quality here because this is a big fold and it's right in the center. Major fold. I want to make sure that this line reads so that it really goes behind this form right here. And I'm seeing that this kind of goes off like that a little bit. I'm just tweaking these lines now. This actually goes like that a little bit. Emphasizing this line, it's almost like a little shadow. It seems to say, well, I'm really laying down on the table and expressing that plane that this is. Wrapping around there like that. There's a little fold right there. You can develop the line even more, carefully, slowly. I think I'm going to leave off on this because I think I've given you the idea of pretty much what a line drawing is. I could take out, I don't know if you can see these faint lines, but I'd like to work a little more removing them. But I think you have the idea of what a line drawing is, and it's fun. Give it a try.